What if you have a list of actions or macros, or maybe actions within a macro, whatever, and they need to happen in a specific order? But no matter what you do, it's all happening at the same time, and that's causing problems. What do? Well, I've got a hack. Presented by Church Tech U, it's the ProPresenter Show. On today's show, how to trigger actions in a certain order in ProPresenter. Hi, and welcome again to the ProPresenter Show. This is the show where I, of course, teach you all about ProPresenter. My name's Paul Allen Clifford. And before we get started, if you've ever run into this problem where you've got a list of things and maybe you want to put a little space between them, maybe you want them in a specific order, what have you, go ahead and tell it to me in the comments below the video. So this comes to us from the official ProPresenter users community that I run along with Renewed Vision, and it's the case that someone was saying, yeah, I need to do this list of things in this specific order, and it would be great if I could have a delay between those things. Now, I do have another tutorial showing how to do that with slide changes, but I did get thinking, wait a second, there is another feature we could use. So let's head over to the computer and we'll talk about that. So here we are in ProPresenter, and this is what I came up with. I actually found a link to, here, let me show it to you. It's up here. Someone on GitHub had made a bunch of MP3s that are completely silent. Now, I can't think of a lot of uses for these. Maybe you want to throw one in from time to time to just have silence in a playlist or something like that. And you don't want to pause it. You just want to, every time it's silent for a while, it just gives you a chance to breathe or whatever. Don't know. But they're totally free. So I went ahead and I downloaded them and I put them into my, my audio playlist. And I will give you a link to that a little bit later. So if we go right here, notice I have Silent MP3s. Let me hide myself because I was right underneath there. And notice that we've got all kinds of time. So you could do like 2 seconds if you want it to do one action, wait a second and do another action, then that would be perfect. So let me show you how to do that. If you right click on this and go into Inspector, click on this very last tab right here, and you'll notice there's no sort of waveform or anything in this. This is just an MP3. So let's move the playhead to right after it starts, so that's like 3/100ths of a second or something, and I'm going to add a marker. Now let's go right to the end here, and I'm going to add another marker. You might see what I'm going to do here. So let's right click on this and add an action. So let's say that we want to change to the worship look, because right now we're on default. So that'll work. And then I'm going to right click on this and maybe, I don't know, change how the stage screen looks. So change that, and let's do this one, and let's change that to audience mirror. Okay, so let's do that, and now let me select that stage screen, and we're on another one right here, and now, and notice up here it says default, so I'm going to click on this to start this running, just to, because we want to be able to see audio bouncing here because it's silent. So I'm going to click on this. We'll see this go across here, and once we do, we should immediately see the look change, and then we should see this change. Let me put something on that screen just so that it's a little more obvious. So let's do maybe John 3:16 right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And there we go. It did it. So you'll notice up here we're on worship, and here that looks different than it did before, because before it was on like the current and next text or something like that. So it was like that. Actually, that's the match element name one that I did. So maybe something like this. Yeah, something like that. Okay. So you might be thinking, but do I need to go over there and click on it? No. Just wherever you want to trigger it, go down here and grab it and stick it on a slide, and it will trigger when you click on that slide. So you could do that. So do that, and there. See? So you could do that. You could put it in your slide loop. You can do all kinds of stuff. Of course, you can always put it on a video. So you could put it on a regular video, or I guess you could make a video that's totally transparent with no sound, do the exact same thing. So what you're doing in effect is you're using the markers segment to add a delay between these things. Now, it could be that in that case it took 2 seconds to do both of those things. It could be that maybe I wanted that to happen faster. The advantage of having this is we've got all kinds of time. So I've got 1 second, I've got a minute, I've got an hour 20. I can do it with any of those things. Another thing that I could do is if we go back here to our 2 seconds of silence, right click and go into Inspector. Right here, I have it set to stop. What if I set it to loop? So we could do those things over and over and over again. So the thought I had is someone today was like, yeah, I'd love for it to every 30-second put up a prop, and the prop has an auto clear on it. Well, do this. Do it with the 30-second timer, and when you start it, it goes, and then it just loops. And every 30 seconds, it starts it again, but in the meantime, it has an auto clear of 10, 15 seconds from the props layer, and that's how that works. So if that's something that is helpful to you, I'm going to give you a link to that, to all those MP3s, as well as some suggestions on some of the ways that you could do this. And I might see if I can't try and make a video that is perfectly transparent and has no audio. So if you were using the audio layer for something else, you could do this on the media layer or any other place that you could play video in ProPresenter. So if you want that, head on over to TDM.fyi/ProGifts. GIFTS is how you spell that, so you can see. And I will just click on the cheat sheet on that page for delaying actions or macros, and give me your email address so that I can send it to you, and I'll just send it to you automatically. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford from TrinityDigitalMedia.com and ChurchTechU.com, reminding you to go out and change eternity.